I love this guy. He is so amazing. Take a seat, my friend. Whew. Do you remember how we met?
How did we meet? Yes, you were on stage with Brandon Green.
Okay.
And I saw you on Instagram, and I started following you.
That's crazy. And then how did the first
and then
conversation...
I asked you to be on my podcast.
Okay.
And we had a great time on the podcast, but that was it. And then I remember it was December, and it was a few years ago now. It was December, and I had my whole plan for the next year, and I had my business partner who was going to help me implement the plan. And she had a bit of a nervous breakdown, and she called me and said, "I can't help you with any of this stuff. I can't implement."
I remember this now.
And I'm sitting at my desk going, "What the fuck am I going to do now?" And the phone rings, and it's Brandon T. Adams. I'm like, "What the?" And you're like, "Buddy, how you doing?"
I think I actually did a FaceTime video.
No.
Was it through FaceTime, or I just called you?
You just called me, and I was like...
I was worried about you. I could tell just through messaging that there was something wrong.
And so we started talking, and then you said, you were really helpful, and then you said, "You should join my mastermind."
I do remember that.
Because the answer to every problem is joining the mastermind.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was awesome.
You and Helen.
Yeah, so I said, okay, like this is a sign. This is like divine providence that you call me, like why my hands are in my face. And I said, but I don't do anything without Helen, so Helen, come join me.
Yeah. I just got to say, in that moment when I called you, like I believe in like God moments and stuff, I could see through your messaging that there was some pain or whatever it was, and that's why I just called you right away. And the call was really just from being a servant because I truly care about people. And I don't even think I actually, your podcast show, beyond that, I didn't really talk to you.
We didn't know each other.
Yeah. So you have worked with some of the top leaders. Some you can't share who they are, CEOs, managing billion-dollar companies, rising leaders. What do you see the obstacles they have because they're successful, they're making money? What are the core obstacles that they have as they're rising? And also, what is the secret sauce that you give them to help them keep rising, but also keep their marriage, keep their personal life intact?
It's interesting because the reason the rising leader is leading up, leading across, leading your team, and leading yourself is because usually a leader will have 2 of the 4 handled. But often I'll get a call from a CEO saying, "This person, I want to promote them. I want them to be C-suite something or other, but they're driving me crazy. They just don't know how to talk to me. I teach them to be a trusted advisor." Or they're a bull in the china closet on the team, and they just can't get along with everybody, or they're stepping on toes, or they're just too ambitious. Can you teach them some manners? Or I can't get them to elevate from being in the weeds in their organization. Can you help them to learn to delegate, learn to empower their teams? So I teach them how to do those things. And then most of my entrepreneur clients are the leading you thing, because most of them are driving themselves into the ground. So my favorite story, in fact, John Lee Dumas last year thought my whole coaching should be about this, was I went to dinner with 2 of my clients and their wives, and the wives looked at me and just said, "Thank you for what you've done for our husbands. We know what you did for the company. We know what you did for their leadership skills, but you improved our marriages, and they're better fathers." And I'm in this restaurant just bawling my eyes out because that's what I care about. Like, what good is having $100 million in the bank if you're just going to give half of it away and be alone, 10 years down the road? It's just not worth it.
You've come so far. Sleep in your truck. I've done that. Can you talk about going from the homeless stage to becoming a millionaire in a short period of time? Like, what your mindset was, and what were a few steps that you did that got you into the right mindset and to get you to that next level in such a short period of time? I'd be very descriptive on this.
It was totally whiplash, right? So I went from being a waiter and feeling less than everybody to having $1 million house in a successful neighborhood where my neighbors are doctors and lawyers, and I didn't value being a salesman. I didn't I made more money than they did. But it was so interesting because I was in a sales course, and the leader said, why are you a salesperson? And I said, because I have no other skills. And he said, do you think being a top salesperson means you have no skills? And I'm like, yes. And then that's when I learned that those were actually skills and that it was a profession. But for me, it was whiplash. I felt like I was playing t-ball with everybody else playing majors, only all the time, at every party, at every social event, no matter where I went. It was hard for me, even when I had an expensive car. And I again, the other thing I did was I bought expensive clothes. Like I had $20,000 to $30,000 worth of clothes in my closet.
Wow.
Like I had $150 ties. Like it was crazy. I just gave away all my Hugo Boss suits and shirts to the teen homeless center. And all these kids went to prom last year in all my Hugo, because neither one son wears camo and the other son's a rabbi, so nobody wants my clothes.
Can you talk about video? I mean, you were even doing video before I met you and podcasting, but can you share just a few specific ways you've used video, social media, that has helped you grow, build your brand, but also the client opportunities?
Let's just talk about this past year, because you and I have been doing video now for years.
Yeah.
So I've gotten comfortable and better on video, and I'm.
So I want to say this, if you're going to go that direction. So Mark was here last year, very powerful elite day, and John Lee Dumas said a lot of things happened, and you had just come off a very crazy time. You lost your brother.
Right. So when Tim just talked about his brother dying of addiction, my brother died last year, just before Rise and Record. And I kind of related being a coach and talking to him every day, and I couldn't save him. So that was really tough for me to hear Tim say that.
It was, and you came to Rise and Record, went through the 3 days, and we end up working together on an elite advisory level. Can you just share, like, the things you've learned, what it's done for you, how it's pushed you, and made you in different ways who you are?
So it's very, very specific. If you saw my social media pre this past year, it was very Oprah. I like to do love and joy and connection and take care of yourself, and that was very easy for me. I couldn't say the word leadership. I couldn't say, like, I'm building this Rising Leader program, and I couldn't say I was a leadership coach. And it was pointed out to me that that's what I do all day, every day. But publicly, I couldn't say the word I'm a leadership coach. So switching the videos from the Oprah stuff to I'm throwing my hat in the ring and talking leadership with, like, the James Whitakers of the world who have this down. Like, they know what they're talking about, and they live the lives that people see that go with that. The Ed Miletts, all these people. And I'm like, I can't throw my hat in that ring because I don't see leadership that way. I don't see myself that way. And working with you, one, your unshakable belief in me. You know, you're half my freaking age. And your belief in me really helped me get over that hump. You're relentless every day. In fact, if you ever work with Brandon one-on-one, you're allowed to tell him not to call you on Sundays. He was not allowed to call me on Sundays because I'd be perfectly relaxed, and then I wouldn't be relaxed. And now I'm very comfortable talking leadership. My publisher said your book is so different than all your other books. Your other books were like, I learned this thing and it's really nice and it's really helpful and it sold 75,000 copies and it's doing great and all that stuff. This book is, look, I've been around, this is the way it is, and it's all about leadership. And that's all because I've been part of the mastermind with the people who have loved and accepted me in the mastermind for who I am, for you. And, like, at 61 years old, I'm still like that homeless guy. I'm still growing into this guy, even though I have the social proof out in the world. So that inside and outside, it's much closer than it's ever been. Yeah. I don't know that gap will ever close, and I don't care.
Yeah, I'm grateful for you. My wife says, like, we have such an interesting relationship. Us, we can say things to each other, and other people are like, what? Did you just say that? But we do push each other, and I've definitely pushed you, and I've loved seeing you grow, and just very grateful for you as a friend. Like, you you've helped me too. I mean, they say the coach, how's it go? The student learns and the coach learns. Is that how the saying goes?
I don't know. I
don't know.
I just don't buy your shit sometimes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one thing I believe, but I've learned a lot from you, and I want to just wrap up by you sharing with the audience. We have a lot of rising leaders here. What is your advice to them? Any one tip for them as they're rising as a leader?
The most important skill you can have as a leader, I believe, is the ability and the willingness to have difficult conversations, holding people accountable, giving people feedback, giving people praise, creating strong agreements. If you can get yourself to be, read Kim Scott's Radical Candor. If you can learn to have these difficult conversations, it'll change your intimate relationships, it'll change your business relationships. For me, leadership, if you're failing at leadership, it just means you're not having enough difficult conversations, right? Being honest with people. So that's what it is for me.
I'm going to leave it on that. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thanks.
Love you, buddy.